Hey everyone, I'm Ryan, you're watching 60 Cycle Hum, and in this video I'm going to compare two very budget-friendly double-cut junior style guitars. On my right I have the FireFly, on my left I have a Harley Benton. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of the details between these two guitars, let's talk about the price points. This one is 140 bucks when it's available on Amazon. This one is 185 through Thomann, depending on what exchange rates are doing that day because it's coming from Germany. Also, you've got to tack on 30 bucks shipping for this guitar to get it to the States. You can throw multiple things into the same shipping order, which in theory kind of lowers the price per item as far as the shipping goes. But functionally, let's call it a $215 guitar. Before I get into the details with these and my comparisons, I want to address a certain type of comment that I know I'm going to get in this video because I've gotten it in every kind of comparison video I've ever done. There's someone typing it right now. I can feel it. They're typing something along the lines of, you can't compare two guitars that are different prices. Or you can't compare two different guitars that have different amount of pickups, or they'll find some other difference and say they're not comparable because of that difference. Comparisons are for things that are different. That is what a comparison is for. It's not for things that are exactly the same. You can't wait until something is exactly the same as something else to do a comparison. That's literally not what comparisons are for. I'm going to compare things that are different. If this was a $200 guitar and this was an armadillo, I could still compare them because that's what comparisons are for. Also, I think functionally, at $140 and $215, these are in a very similar price point. This is such a budget price point that it really isn't that huge of a deal. Yes, this one is technically like 50% more expensive, but it's not like the difference between a $1,000 guitar and a $1,500 guitar. This one's just $75 more. Maybe you do get $75 more of guitar with this one. We'll discuss that as we go. But you're not getting 50% more guitar. It's a different kind of ratio at work there. So that's my rant on the price difference and comparisons and what comparisons are for. I'm sure people are going to tell me I'm wrong in the comments and it's going to be a whole new other thing. So anyways, let's talk about the main difference, the one big difference between these two guitars. The thing that's going to frame this entire video. And that difference is, I love this guitar and I hate this guitar. I mean, if there's ever been a bigger difference, that's it. Out of the box, this one has just been a ton of fun to play. The prototype that I played at Thomann back in the spring was just as much fun. I can't put this thing down. I've kept it next to my desk up in my office. I keep it plugged into an amp and I just noodle with it throughout the day. I'm having a great time. This one, there's not been a moment that I've bonded with it and enjoyed it since I got it back in midsummer. I ordered this while I was at Summer NAMM and it was waiting for me when I got home. There's just a lot of issues here and there's just something about it. At its core, it's not a fun guitar. And if you're buying cheap guitars, fun should be at the top of your list because there's going to be a lot of other things that you just don't get with a cheap guitar, but fun should be one of them. Otherwise, don't bother. So let's talk about this guitar and why it's not fun, and then we'll talk about this guitar and why it is fun. This guitar is not fun because it's nearly impossible to intonate and tune because of a few big issues. The bridge is not placed correctly, and this wraparound bridge is not able to be intonated with the length of the string against the frets. I know the newer version of this has a tune-o-matic bridge with a stop bar on it, which is probably a much better option and might be able to intonate it. But this particular guitar with the stop tail, with the wraparound bridge here, no bueno. All the strings are sharp at the 12th fret. I've pulled this back as far as I can to get it closer to intonated, and now the bridge is hanging off those posts at a hilarious angle because there's no room left to go back, and I still can't get it into intonation. Another issue is that the nut slots are not cut deep enough. This is an issue I had with the Epiphone SL, so that when you're doing open chords, the amount that you're pressing down the strings to fret them is pushing those strings out of tune relative to the open strings, which means your chord just sounds like an out of tune mess, and it's not fun. Fun is the key word here. This guitar doesn't have it. Some good things I can say about this: you get a really nice P90 experience out of these pickups. They actually sound pretty decent. They have this low, mid kind of like woofy thud to them, which is what I expect out of a P90. So I think the pickups in this are fine. I know that the newer version, people are saying that the pickups are a little bit hotter. I think these are fine, but if you want a little bit more heat, I mean, obviously you're going to get what's available, and the newer version is what's going to be available. I actually like the shape of the neck of this. It's a nice, thick, like baseball bat kind of feel, but combined with the intonation issues and the fact that I can't drop the action down any lower because the frets are buzzing out on the high frets, and not even super high. I'm talking like the 12th through the 14th fret, stuff starts buzzing out on me. I've tried adjusting the truss. I've done a bunch of stuff with this, which is another complaint. I keep working on this and it's still not getting any better. The action just isn't fun, combined with the intonation issues, makes that kind of thick baseball neck just kind of exacerbate those issues and make it seem even more unpleasant. Where when you get a neck on a guitar that's set up really nice and plays really nice, but it's got that nice thick vintage feel, it can be a whole other like special fun sort of experience. I'm not getting that with this guitar just because it has those major issues. Also, the tuners are pretty jumpy on this. They're a closed back modern looking tuner, but they've gone so cheap on them on the internals, I guess, that they just jump all over the place. You can get it into tune, but it's not a, it doesn't instill confidence when you're tuning this thing the way that those tuners feel. Now let's go to the Harley Benton and why I think this guitar is fun. The neck is a relatively like slim kind of modern feel. It's not the baseball bat neck like this at all. Kind of flat fretboard. The frets on this are punching way above its price point. A $215 guitar with frets that I'd be fine with on a $400, $500 guitar. It's just punching outside of its weight class with these frets. They're dressed really nice and smooth on the edge. The details are all there. There's no like weird globs of finishing issues anywhere or anything like that. No quality control issues with this guitar. The tuners are stable and relatively smooth for what appears to be like a vintage style tuner on here. I really like those white tuning pegs too. The bridge is this really beefy bit of hardware. It's not tilting at all on those posts. Fully intonatable. It's one of those wraparound bridges that has, you know, all the intonatable saddles on here. A quirky issue with this guitar is that the pickup doesn't have like a true P90 sound to it. I mean, that's the inverse of these guitars. You get a nice P90 sound with this, with both pickups. You got one pickup on here, and it doesn't have that sound. I'm not saying it sounds bad. I'm saying if you're looking at this guitar for a P90 experience, probably should pass on it or plan on swapping that pickup if you don't like it. I'd say that this pickup reminds me more of like a nice Telecaster kind of sound. It's bright, it's clear, it's it hits compression really well, it hits drives really well, but it's not that low mid thud, that woofy woolly thud of a P90. It's something kind of different for some reason. It might be because the pickup is dropped farther below the strings are than this. You can't really adjust a dog ear to be higher, to be closer to those strings. You can put risers in them. I don't have any of those, so I'm not going to try it. But I'm honestly into the sound of this guitar. I don't grab it because I'm expecting a P90 sound. I grab it because I like the sound it makes. It's twangy, it's bright, it's fun, it's easy to play this guitar. Out of the box, it came set up, the intonation wise, almost perfect. Only the low E is a little bit off, and it's well within like normal range for me. The nut is cut really well. None of those out of tune issues when I'm fretting with open chords up here. It's just a player. It's just a player's guitar, and it's a ton of fun, especially for $215. I can recommend this guitar as a buy for sure, where this one is definitely a buy. Like, no thank you. Yeah, I might have gotten a dud and I might have gotten a stud with the Harley Benton, but I don't know. I don't know, it would take a lot for this to be so much better that I could recommend it over this guitar, because you're gonna have to swap the bridge at least to get intonatable. Then you're gonna have to do nut work, which might vary with quality control from guitar to guitar. I mean, in this price point, either of these guitars could go positive or negative with quality control. It's just the reality of this price point. But that nut is just cut so poorly with how it goes out of tune. You're gonna need to swap the tuners because they're so jumpy. So you've got 3 things you have to address with this guitar. With this guitar, you might, it's a personal preference, you might have to swap the pickup. And it's preference, it's not a functionality thing. So that's kind of my view on them. Also, there's some hilarious quality control issues with this guitar. There's big globs of like clear coat that ran out onto the fretboard. The pickguard looks really cheap the way it was cut. And just the material itself. That bridge, like I mentioned. There's just a bunch of issues. The one thing I'll say is I prefer the FireFly headstock shape to the Harley Benton, but with how playable this is and how much fun it is, like, I'm willing to forgive that. Also, you get a neck volute here for people who care, where the FireFly is just this flat blending. Also, unnecessarily large heel on the neck of the FireFly. I'll put it in like that. The heel on the Harley Benton is just about as small as it can get. Like, you'd have to be getting pretty creative and artsy to get a smaller heel than that. And you're just not going to get that out of a $215 guitar for the most part. Another con, you know, subjectively with the Harley Benton is that the yellow is not a true, like, TV yellow. I've been thinking of it as a YouTube yellow because it's just kind of, you know, below TV quality, it's YouTube quality. TV yellow is kind of like a brighter, more happy, lemony sort of yellow, where this is like a dark butterscotch pudding or deli mustard kind of yellow. It's got that, I mean, both these guitars have that cheap, thick poly sort of feel. You're not going to write home about the finish on either of these guitars, but I think the finishes are just fine, honestly. I like a white finish guitar. I like a yellow guitar. I like this yellow, even though it's not a true TV yellow. It's that YouTube yellow. What else do I say about these things? I should plug them in and show you the sounds that those pickups make. I'll start with the FireFly. How about that? You'll also get to hear those tuning and intonation issues I was talking about. Let's tune that. All right, the guitar is dry right now. No drives or verbs or anything. I'm going into the Rev D20 and my Princeton reverb back here. You hear it on that D shape? Sounds all right on the G and the C, but something about that D. But if I bar chord this, I bet it's gonna be fine. That's still a little bit out. But that G sounds fine. Like, there's something about the way the nut is cut that causes certain strings to go out. The G. That G string, when you fret that G string, it puts everything out. Yeah, I could try to fix that. But there's not much else redeemable about this guitar that makes me want to fix it to keep it going, you know? Here is the neck pickup. So you can hear the pickup sound just fine. They've got that big meaty sound you expect from a P90. Spin the neck, here's the bridge. Oh man, it's just going out of tune already. Or maybe that's just the intonation that close to the 12th fret. I think that's what it is. Not fun. That's really like the biggest thing I can say. Not fun, fun. All right, you're gonna hear how bright this pickup is now. Well, like I said, it's not bad bright. It's like twangy fun bright. Turn off the drive. It's in tune. It's been sitting here and it's in tune. That thing just sat here and fell out of tune. Maybe you can even hear in the way I'm playing different, like just how much easier it is to play this guitar. Let's get some crunch on there. You can hear it's pretty bright. Especially pushing into that drive. It's a fun strummer. Kind of jangly, you know? But I think that's part of my criticism of that pickup is that it's not a P90 sound. It's jangly, it's twangy. It's got a Telecaster quality to it. It's a secret Telecaster in some sort of weird way. But outside of that kind of comment on the pickup, it's just a comfortable, fun player. The neck is really nice and fast. The fretwork is great. The action is great. The intonation is near impeccable. The nut is cut really well. This is one of those Harley Bentons that punches way outside its price point. It just does. I don't think you could throw $75 at this guitar and make it play as close as this guitar does. You could spend some money on this guitar to get a true P90 sound out of it. But I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. I think you should just listen to what I'm saying, listen to the sound of this thing, and be like, do I want that sound or not? Because once you start throwing money at a $215 guitar, then maybe you should just be buying, you know, a $300 guitar that just does what you want. I don't know. You tell me. You want? It's fine to have projects. I'm gonna throw a little reverb on you. It's just fun, guys. It's just fun. And you know what? I mentioned it last time. I did a FireFly versus Harley Benton shootout video. Because there's people who are going to accuse me of, you know, profiteering from one or the other. The reality is that if I lied through my teeth and told you that this was the better guitar, I would stand to make much more money through my affiliate links that are in the description down below. I mean, this one's not even available on Amazon right now, though. It will be again. But when FireFlies are on Amazon, I make money. Like, okay money through affiliate links on them because people watch the videos, they click the links, and then they decide to go buy them, and I get a cut. The affiliate program through Thomann, honestly, is dismal for me. I've not cashed it out once in a year and a half of doing affiliate links for them. It's not a motivation for me at all. The motivation for me to get this guitar in to compare to this one is purely to provide the video content that I know is gonna, entertain my audience, is gonna get clicks from people who are curious. And with that in mind, there's no reason why I wouldn't be honest about these two guitars. If I was gonna be dishonest, it would be to promote this one over this one because it is so much easier for me to make money off of this with Amazon affiliate links. It's just the reality of it. And you should consider that in other videos where people are presenting various guitars and they have affiliate links. You just should. Like, I consider myself to be pretty damn honest, but there's people out there who are not. And you should be an informed consumer, and you should be thinking about these things. So you should take every bit of media that you get for free on the internet as some kind of advertisement, because there's a good chance it is. Was there anything else I want to say about these two guitars? I don't know, guys. Buyer beware. Be aware that anytime you buy a super budget guitar, you're rolling the dice on quality control. That's one of the things that just doesn't happen all the time with cheap guitars. They don't get that final, fine comb from a quality control expert at the end of the factory line. And sometimes you will get a dud versus a stud. So just be prepared for that. It happens with Harley Bentons. It certainly happens with FireFlies. And sometimes you really win. You get a special guitar that you weren't expecting at a price point. But I gotta say, based on my experience with the prototype at Thomann and this one here, this is the clear winner to me. I'm probably gonna keep it for quite a while. Maybe I'll do some mods with it. Like I keep saying, it's got a Telecaster vibe to that pickup. I'm thinking about putting a Telecaster neck pickup in the neck. I'm gonna have to remove wood and get crafty with this thing, but this might be some mod bait for me. This guy, I'm gonna get rid of as soon as I can. I've been holding on to it just for this comparison because I knew I wanted to compare them, and I'll be happy to have this out of my life. I really mean it. That's how I feel about this guitar. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, dislike, leave me a rude and nasty comment. Support us on Patreon, blah, blah, blah. You know the whole drill. Click on that bell. Not because it helps me get views or anything like that, but because it helps build a community around this channel. Meaning that when I premiere videos, and I premiere all the videos, you'll get a notification so you can jump in on the chat, and we all hang out, we all chat. We talk about stuff that's off topic sometimes, like Star Trek and hamburgers or whatever, or we talk about the specifics of the product, and people have an opportunity to ask me very specific questions. So I think it's a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun I've been having with the channel in the past couple of months is doing these premieres, and the bell will help you get in on those. So anyways, stay grounded. Bye everybody.